Welcome to Speaking of Spirituality, a podcast to share about the path of spiritual awakening. I'm your host, Amelia McLean, and I am so excited to be showcasing some inspiring stories and exploring some interesting topics, all under the umbrella of spirituality. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So last week, I was in the middle of an existential crisis, and what I think also was another ego death. Very, very strange times. I think there's a lot of other people right now going through similar types of situations. And if you're not familiar with what an ego death is, it's basically like a layer of you, or who you think you are, is being shed. That's my very simplistic understanding. So I'm going to try to explain kind of what I was going through, because I think it will help me sort of process all the feelings that I was having and make sense of them a little bit more, but also because I had a profound realization through this experience, and it really helped solidify my knowing about why I'm here and what I'm doing, and my spiritual work. I've had a lot of, just to preface, I've had a lot of insecurity, I guess, about my spiritual work, and so I'll explain more about that and how I moved through some more of that feeling through this process. And I'm going to try to explain the situation that I was in with the events that happened in chronological order as best as I can remember. But basically, recently I've been really putting more effort into connecting with people on social media, and I've never really liked social media that much, and I think that a huge part of that is because of some like cyberbullying type situations that I was the victim of as a young teenager. But yeah, just I think I talked a little bit about that in another episode, so I won't get too much into that. But it really hurt me, and so that's, I think, a lot of my aversion to social media stems from that. But I see it as a really powerful tool for connecting with people, and I think because I had the kind of aversion to it, I haven't really, it's been hard for me to be my true authentic self in the social media world, because of what I experienced as a young person, because what I was doing then was being my true authentic self, and I was made fun of for that, or so that was really hurtful, and it's made me nervous to be my true authentic self on social media. So I've been trying to find my voice there, and the things that I found that I get the most positive response from are when I'm sharing about my healing process, just talking about like, this is what I'm going through, kind of like a diary or something, like a journal, just like, this is what's happening in my life, and these are the things that I'm doing to move through these situations or whatever. One of those times being when I first had my first little stint of sobriety from alcohol. People were really moved by that, and friends that I had gone to high school with that I hadn't talked to in years ended up messaging me and saying, thank you so much for sharing about this, it's really inspiring. And then the other time that I had a similar experience was when I was posting about my my free birthing experience. A lot of positive response from that. And so that's what I'm trying to come back to, is just because I've been putting out a lot of effort and doing these things, making these, posts that I'm hoping are going to land in, well with people, and be some sort of inspiring, encouraging, spiritual thing. And it's like I have this hope and this expectation that like it's going to turn out this way when people see my content, and then when nobody really sees it, or there's not very many likes or any comments, it's kind of a bummer. And I've been trying really hard not to let that get me down, because I also know that a huge part of the reason that people might not even be seeing my posts is just because of the way that the Instagram algorithm works. And that's also a bummer, because it's making it hard for people with smaller accounts to really, connect with people and to be seen, actually, because the way that the algorithm works, from what I understand, is that the more interactions that your content has, like likes, comments, shares, the more that Instagram wants to show your content to people. So because Instagram changed the way that it was operating, because it used to all be just chronologically posted content, just in the order that it was posted by the people, order of upload, that's how it showed up on the main feed, on your main feed. But then when they changed things, and wanted to be more competitive with other apps like TikTok, they started choosing who was going to see what, and the targeted advertising, and like and all of that stuff really ramped up. So anyway, it's just made it hard for people to be seen, because what's happening is the accounts that have a lot of followers, that are getting a lot of engagement because they already have a lot of followers, those are the posts that are being shown to more people. So I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit confusing, but anyway, so I've been kind of getting down on myself because of putting in all this effort and not seeing the results, I guess, that I expect from making this content. And it's just like, it's like pouring from my heart so much to like create these pieces of content, and then to not have that reciprocated, it feels like really draining to me. So I need to be posting, not looking for a response, just like posting and just detaching completely from expecting a response. And I think that will help me feel better. But that's kind of what prompted, what like catalyzed my existential crisis that I went into. And I had a huge range of emotions, and went through this process of kind of untangling my thoughts and feelings, and then coming back around. And I've come out of it now, and I feel better, and I understand what happened, and I can now explain it. So that was how it started. And I mean, I started questioning everything, basically. It started with like, well, why am I even doing this? Like, why am I even posting on here? Am I, if I'm not even like making an impact? And I know that that's not entirely untrue, or whatever, because, people do see my posts. A very, very small number of people interact with my posts. And for the people who are, it is having some sort of impact, and that's nice. So I should focus on that and really nurture those relationships with the people that are interacting with my content. And yeah, but anyway, so this is my thought process. So I got really, down about that, and I was like, what am I even doing here? Why am I even doing this? And then I started to question my spiritual work, and just kind of like, just thinking about stopping even posting at all on Instagram and Facebook, and just kind of unplugging and going just back to like in-person interaction, which I definitely obviously prefer. Like, who doesn't? But yeah, and so I started thinking about that, and then And then I had a talk with one of my friends, and she was kind of like feeling a similar way, and like we kind of both decided, okay, we're gonna like get off Instagram and just like, because if it's, especially if it's like bringing you down that much, like it's like not good for your mental health, for me to continue. If I can't shift my perspective and shift my feelings about it, I really need to take a break, and emotionally take care of myself so that I can get in a better headspace, so that I can feel good, because that's the whole point of like my work that I'm doing, is like to, raise vibration and move through things, and to feel good, and even feel good about feeling bad. That sounds weird, but it's like if you're in a bad place and you're like feeling bad about feeling bad, then that's worse. If that's making it a lot worse. But if you can just accept that you're in this weird place, this bad place or whatever, and just be like, this is just where I'm at right now, then that's actually a more positive way to move through that type of situation, which is where I was at. I was like, okay, I know this is not going to last forever. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to be okay. And I know that I'm going to have some clarity soon. And I was okay with the fact that it was weird. I was in a weird place, and I hadn't been in that type of headspace in a while. So it was really humbling for me actually to be like, whoa, okay, like I'm actually having like a really hard time right now. And so then then I like made this decision with my friend on the phone. I was like, okay, I'm kind of probably gonna pull off of Instagram for a while. And when I got off of the phone call with her, I had just, I think it was my guides coming through, like just telling me like, keep going, like shift your perspective, don't care about the outcome of the posts that you're making. And it's really, I'm creating this reality that I'm experiencing, and so this is coming from me, and I'm doing that, like I am choosing to perceive it in this way, and I'm also creating the situation, which is that I'm posting these things that nobody is really responding to. So I can change that. I can change that, and so the messages that were coming through was like, don't give up, like don't give up on Instagram. I'm needed on there. There are people that are following me that are enjoying my posts, that are, that need to keep seeing me push through and keep doing that. And I also need to share more about my personal experience and what I'm going through, because there's so much, there's not enough of that on there, of this like balance of like, there's not a lot of people who share the light and the dark. It's either like all love and light, or all, dark and gray. And it's like, I have to share more about all the love and light, but also like, hey, I'm having a hard time. This is what I'm going through, and this is how I'm dealing with it, because that's so important for people to see, and to know that there's a way to move through these things in a good way. And so I decided to keep going, and I had also, because I had made a plan to do a live with my friend. I got really excited like a few weeks ago about doing collaborations with other people, and really being able to reach more people by connecting with other creators that are, have a similar type of audience that might be also interested in what I have to share. And so my friend Sabrina is an amazing, inspiring woman, and I really love her. And she is currently doing work with astrology. She's been an astrologer for decades, but she just more recently started doing business astrology, which I think is really cool. And so I asked her if she would want to do like a monthly Instagram live video together, where we would go on and I would like ask her questions about the moon cycle of the month, and like what we could expect astrologically. So we did that on the 6th, and during that conversation, something that she was talking about felt like it related to the work that I'm doing, more focused on, the ascension process and stuff. And so I asked her about how what she was talking about was related to that. And she kind of was like, well, I don't know that I necessarily ascribe to that belief, and I took it well in the moment, and I definitely, you know, respect her view and what she had to say, and but it made me question what I believe, and which is good, because questioning is always good and it always leads you further to the truth, I believe. And so it was actually really shocking to me that I started questioning so deeply what I'm really doing, and is the ascension, like literally, is the ascension actually happening? These are the questions that were going through my mind. Is the ascension actually happening? Is this real? Like, what is actually happening here? And like, I know that I'm creating my own reality, and like that's what everyone's doing. So are all of the people who believe in the ascension, are we all just creating this reality in our mind and just thinking that like this is what's happening, and then we're all affirming that for each other because we're all part of this group of people that believe this thing? And but that's like, you know, is that actually even happening? And I mean, I was down in this hole of like, what the fuck is actually going on here? And I was actually getting really confused, and like, because when I went through my spiritual awakening process, I had no idea about the ascension. I had no idea what spiritual awakening even was. And I was, you know, that was when I was asleep to all of that stuff and didn't have any clue what was actually going on here. And when I went through that process is when I felt like I finally understood what the fuck is actually going on. So when I was like questioning the things that I felt like I knew for certain, I was like, I mean, it was tearing me apart, and I was just getting so confused. And I mean, I was crying and just like fuck it all, like, you know, I don't know, it was really wild. It was quite an emotional roller coaster. So I'd be really interested to hear if anybody else has gone through something similar recently, because yeah, it was rough, and it would be helpful to know if people are going through similar, even if it's not about exactly what I'm talking about, but like, have you been questioning something in your life really hard that has like caused you to, you know, I don't know, have this, you know, what I believe is an ego death, which is like that part of me kind of died, you know, that part of me that believed that. And so I actually had a lot of clarity through this. So I talked to my husband about it one night in the hot tub, and he helped me a lot. He helped me feel better a lot, because he was like, you know, kind of talking about what he sees going on in the world, and just, yeah, I mean, he just kind of led me back to feeling like, okay, I don't feel so crazy. Like, I think that, you know, this is what's happening. And I still felt really weird for a couple more days, but then the other thing was that through the talking to my friend Sabrina, she mentioned the precession of the equinoxes. And so I have this book, and I mentioned this on the live with her too. I have this book. It's called The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life by Drunvalo, I don't know how to say his name properly, Melchizedek. But if you Google The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, you should find it. It's a beautiful book. It's packed full of information, and it is fascinating. There's 2 volumes. I've only read the first one. I have the second one, and I've glanced through it a little bit, but this book is packed with very, very interesting information. And so one of the things that he goes over is the precession of the equinoxes. And I'm gonna put on the screen during this part of the video, for people who are watching on YouTube, the picture the little diagram from this book so that you can see what I'm talking about. But I'm going to do my best to explain it here too for people who are just listening on a different podcast platform. So basically, we go through this cycle. It's an astrological cycle, and it's about 26,000 years, 25,920 years to be more exact. But basically, during the cycle, we are, so like our solar system is like, everything's like spinning, right? Like the planets are spinning around on their axes, but they're also spinning around the sun, right? And so and then the whole galaxy is also spinning around, like spiraling around in the universe. So as our planet is going through this precession of the equinoxes in this 26,000 year approximate cycle, we are on one side of the cycle, we're moving towards the center of the galaxy, which would be our sun. And then on the other half of the cycle, we're moving away from the center of the galaxy. And so I think it has to do with the light from the sun having, like emitting information, basically. Light is information. So like sunlight has light codes in it that carry different vibrations and different information, and so we basically like download those from the sun. And I think that this is how this is related. I'm guessing I need to reread this part of the book, but this is just I'm kind of like putting a couple different sources of information together and making sense of this for myself. But yeah, so basically, as we are moving through this cycle, when we're on the half of the precession where we're going towards the center of the galaxy, our sun, that is when humanity is awakening, okay? And then on the other half of the cycle, when we're going away from the center of the sun, from the center of the galaxy, further away from the sun, we are actually falling asleep. And so we're like losing technology, losing information, going back to, the ways that people lived before they had all this technology. And so I hope I'm explaining this right. And yeah, but I would highly recommend reading this book. But this is what has helped me make sense of all of this and to actually feel better about what's going on. So, and it actually helped me have a new perspective. So I'm going to explain why I felt better and what the new perspective is. So basically, I was like, okay, we are definitely going through an awakening process. I still don't necessarily know all of the facts about that, or like I don't know if, anyway, I don't want to get too far off track here, but yeah, so we're for sure going through an awakening process. And the reason that that's why I felt better after I, looked at this book and remembered this information. And then I had a new perspective, which helped me feel differently about moving forward with my spiritual work, because I don't have to do anything. Like, nobody really has to do anything in order to have this awakening process happen. Okay. So, because part of the spiritual teachings that I've heard that I did previously believe were like, there's this battle between light and dark that's happening. The light would be like the ascension, and the dark would be like, the opposite of ascension or whatever, the descension, or, people trying to keep us down. And but that, I don't know. I mean, what I'm getting at is you can't stop the ascension from happening, because that's just what's happening. Like, it's inevitable, because the planet is ascending, because that's just what's happening during this part of the procession that we're in right now. We're on that side of the cycle where we're awakening, right? And so, because part of my my spiritual work that I've been doing is like trying really hard to like help people awaken. But so this kind of takes the pressure off of me in that way of like just understanding now that I don't have to try so hard to do anything to help anybody awaken, because people just are awakening, if that makes sense. Like, we don't even have to like go, we don't have to try really hard to raise our vibration. Like, our vibrations are raising, period. And so I realized that what I'm actually here for, so this is the piece where I've had more clarity around, is that because I received this this title from my guides back when, like in 2019, when I first went through my awakening and was meditating every day, and I still am meditating every day, but when I had first started doing that, I am an Ascension guide, and I know that to be true. I know that like I've had that confirmed from other people, and I actually got really excited one time because I found another person on Instagram who also had that title as Ascension Guide. And so what I'm here to do is not to try to force people to awaken, not to try really hard to get people to awaken, not even really to help people learn these tools to raise their vibration, because that's not really the point. The point is to ride these waves of energy that are being blasted upon the planet right now as we go closer and closer towards the sun, and just ride the wave of ascension and learn how to navigate these new energies and assimilate this new light information into our being, because we are shifting and we are changing, and that is inevitable, and we can't stop it, and we have to just go along with it, or we're not going to go along with it. You know what I mean? So I am here to offer tools to help people along on this process, not to like, force anything to happen, but because part of what's happening for people is, and I keep coming back to healing, I'm here to help people heal in a huge way. We're healing, and that is part of this ascension process, because we, like, as we awaken, as we ascend, as the vibrations are raising, we can't exist in these lower level frequencies that we've been in, which is tied to traumas and pains and intense emotions that we have previously experienced. We have to release those things in order for our vibration to match the vibrations that we're going towards and going into, if that makes sense. And so we're just being burst open, and these things are coming up to come out of us so that we can, continue on this ascension journey. And so that's really what I've realized that I'm here for, is to, I've been given this amazing gift, this amazing tool to help people heal in the form of the quantum soul alchemy sessions that I offer. Like that's an ascension tool. That is a huge ascension tool. And when people are ready, I'm going to be here, with that tool to offer. So I'm really glad that this happened, because I feel a lot less confused. I feel a lot more solid in my knowing of what I believe and what I know is true and what I'm really here to do. And so that just feels really good to have that clarity and feel more grounded in my knowing. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened and what I went through this past week. And I'm definitely on the other end of it. I feel a lot better now. I haven't really gone back to posting so much on social media, but I think that's because I really needed to make this episode and really process through these feelings, because this helps me, the process of talking this out like this really helps me to get more clarity about what I experience. So thanks for listening, and if you've had a similar experience or anything that you'd like to share, I would really love to hear about it in the comments, or you can send me a private message on my Instagram, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Speaking of Spirituality. If you'd like to connect with me personally or book a session for Quantum Soul Alchemy, you can find me on Instagram at Ascending with Amelia. Have a beautiful day.